Oh, hello. You caught me doing another live stream. I don't know where I'm going from that. But anyway, these are something I do every once in a while. If it's your first time watching one of these, I just like to draw. I like to try to be a better artist. So every once in a while, I'll actually draw during a live stream. And it's an opportunity for me to talk with my viewers and just see where it goes. I announced this on the Twitter page that I have, but I'm not sure, like, how many people necessarily saw that. So we'll see if I get anybody jumping in to say hello or not. I hope so. Oh wow, I do. Hello to several people here. Let's see, we've got a TARDIS Rider and J. Andrew World, Zayn Moff, Christian Garcia, Walk the Nerd, Ansi Kim, and Goku Gardley. So several people here. Well, folks, hello to all of you. I did say that, whenever I had time, I'd be I'd continue to do my live streams, and today happened to be one of my days off, so I carved out a little bit of time to draw. Hello, James Gleason, Breck Warren, Daniel Messier. Yeah, so hello to all of you. That's really nice that a bunch of people decided to drop in. I appreciate that. And if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. That's a big part of why I'm doing these live streams. And if I miss it, I'm definitely not ignoring anyone. If I don't answer your question, it's just because I didn't catch it. Okay. So feel free to repeat yourself if I miss anything. Let's see. Hello, Aaron, Alfeche, and Mandela Butterfly. So that's great. That's great. Nice to see so many folks. Thanks for dropping in. I've just decided that I'm drawing Darkseid for the heck of it. I guess it was just on my mind from doing my last episode, which is about DC Comics and the Justice League and that. So it was just sort of on my mind. Just thought I'd take a crack. I don't think I've ever really tried to draw Darkseid. I'm not really trying to illustrate him in his current outfit ever since New 52. He's sort of got an updated look with more armor, I would say, which is a fine look. I have nothing against it at all. But I'm definitely going more for the Jack Kirby look that I'm familiar with. And let me make one adjustment. I just realized that my camera is trying to autofocus. So I'm just messing with the configurations real quick. Alright, I think that should do it. Alright, let's see. I was planning on doing a live stream tonight. I was going to show a trick I used to learn anatomy. Oh, that's cool, J. Andrew Old. You should definitely still do that. I am drawing Darkseid. Hello, Jack Jones. Walk the Nerd says, do you do a structure drawing underneath your drawings before you go to the darker pencils? I do. I don't know how well you can necessarily see it, but if I zoom in, you can sort of see. I've got like, I did like a trapezoid, and then I've got like another sort of smaller one here, and then I've got certain ovals and stuff that I start turning into the musculature. I guess you can't see that too well in the way this camera goes, but yeah, I usually do have some underlying structure to that when I start drawing. So this might be a good time to ask if you could explain how perspective works with foreshortening. Well, it's easy with vehicles and buildings, I suppose, but it's a little more up to what looks right to you when you're doing people, a little bit. That said, I was just talking about how there are underlying shapes when I draw this. So if I wanted to, like make a little note here that I've got like sort of like a 2-point perspective or something like that, and this is fake, but like I just put two lines there, and then I wanted to have, everything sort of head towards this line. Well, I could have this underlying shape. Instead of just drawing an oval, I could have sort of boxed it in as a cube, and I could, or like a, what do you call it when it's like a rectangle that's three-dimensional? Is that like a rhombus? I honestly can't even remember. But you know, like a three-dimensional sort of block. And then like if I sort of set my points there, then I can actually like have those points go to the vanishing point, and that way, and then you just sort of round the musculature out around that cube that you've drawn to your perspective line. So there definitely are ways to do it, but generally I feel like you can usually eyeball anatomy, if that makes sense. Are you going to be talking about any manga in any upcoming videos? Yeah, probably. I try to keep it varied up. Not exactly sure what my next one would be for that yet. The next foreign comics that I'll be talking about will either be Argentinian or Filipino, so we'll see. Those are two things I'm working on. Hey, Atomicus and Razor Vids, have I ever considered doing a video on the Max? Sure, yeah, definitely. Bongo Man, Mr. Yuck, Aldi, Spacetown Man. Alright, and my cat wants to come in, so hold on just a second. Apparently Milo wants to join us. Yes? Would you like to come in? Okay. Hi, Chibi. It's so funny to me. I've got 3 cats, and Milo is definitely the shyest, but he's the only one that comes in to be on the live streams with you guys. It's because even though he's shy, he really likes spending time with me. Hey, Chrissy. Hey, Sigamigs. Hello, Mitchell. Hello. Whew. Please stop calling me gay. Well, that's too bad. Are people calling you gay? Are you gay? I don't know. Milo. Yep, Milo's back. Hello, Brian. Hello, Charles. Put him on cam again. Hey, Milo. People want to see you. He's just sort of running around and playing with, like, his tail and chasing, like, shadows and bits of fluff. Airplane going overhead. Milo, why are you going in there? Hold on, he's making me nervous by climbing into the closet. Milo, stay in this room, please. Hey. I'm trying to get something done, bud. Can you please be here? Come on. Good boy. Good boy. Let's take a minute, Milo, to read what the comments say, and then we'll go back to drawing. Somebody suggesting Dragon Ball. Sure. Thanks for the foreshortening chat. Yeah, no problem. Hanna-Barbera comics? I would consider that. I will consider that. Hello, Uncanny Kodiak. Thanks for joining. Milo, come out of the closet. Do you hear that? My little kitty. My little kitty. Have you covered the New Gods? No, not really. I've talked about Jack Kirby and I talked about the Inhumans for that episode. So I would definitely consider doing New Gods at some point. That would be interesting. Spacetown Man's from Houston, the Space City. This guy's having way too much fun, huh? Arr. Do you guys like cats? Some people are very much like, no, I only like dogs, or, you know, I at least don't like cats. But I don't know. Cats relax me. They're so funny. They just have their own wants and desires, and hopefully you're a part of their life. But it's up to them. They crack me up. I just realized that I was going to spend some of today getting myself a stand for that new gachapon machine that I have, and I completely forgot. I completely forgot to do that. Oh well, I've got a little time. I think that this week for comic tropes, instead of doing like a really in-depth analysis of something, I personally, I wouldn't say I need a break, but I want to do something kind of different. So I'm going to be looking at a comic I consider bad and just having some fun breaking that down, because I think we can learn from bad comics just as much as we can learn from good comics, and hopefully have some fun. Jeez, it's loud out there. All right, I'll see what people are talking about. Love cats. I have two cats, a tortie and a white spotted cat. I have cat. Cat equals good. Dog good. Trouble's a bad comic. Yeah, Trouble could be interesting to talk about someday. But you know what I'd rather talk about was that terrible book, Marvel, by Bill Jemas, I want to say. That was pretty bad. Which Filipino comic artists do you like? That's a great question. You know what? I'd have to look at who some of the current ones are, because there are some current Filipino artists, and I've just done a bad job of memorizing their names. But there was a Filipino invasion, they call it. Like, you know, it just was basically a bunch of new artists that entered the industry in the 80s. It sort of opened up a new market there. It would be cool to talk about that. Javon Miles, hello. Thanks for joining. Firefox Panda, hello. What got me into comic books? Oh, and hello to the Copy To, and yeah, let's see. What got me into comics? I'm trying to think of how old I was. It was something like third or fourth grade. Okay, I can't remember off the top of my head. And I was really into Transformers. I liked the toy. I liked the cartoon. That was something I really liked. And I also had a paper route at this point, so I had a little bit of spending money. When I finished my paper route, I was, bear with me, Your Honor, I promise I am getting somewhere. Watch yourself, counselor. Will do. So when I finished my paper route, I would end it at sort of like just a part of town that had a convenience store nearby. And I would every once in a while go in there to get like some penny candy. Like, you know, there was literally candy for like 5 cents, a nickel, a dime, a quarter, stuff like that. Hello, Graphite Grappler. And let's see, what else? No, I've got my volume turned all the way up, Mitchell. Sorry, I need to get a new mic. I can aim this at myself a little better. Maybe that'll help a small amount. Anyway, So one day I finished the paper route. I'm at this convenience store. I've got some money in my pocket from collecting on the paper route, and I see a Transformers comic book. Well, I didn't know that that existed, so the idea of getting more Transformers stories really excited me. I bought that. I was like, oh, this is really, really cool. This was fun to like read. It took a while to get through, and I could like sort of pore over the art and the characters. Like I could read it at my own pace instead of just watching, like a 30-minute show that just like goes. I could like sort of go back, and I liked that because I was so into Transformers. It wasn't a great comic, but it was like cool to me at the time. And then I tried GI Joe because I also liked GI Joe, and the GI Joe comic was a lot better. And I was like, oh, comics have different sort of like levels of quality. I know that's like, I was young and I was like discovering this, and so I go, well, I've always heard of Spider-Man. Spider-Man's been around since forever, and there's Spider-Man comics here, so maybe Spider-Man is an even better comic. And I happened to pick it up at I think just before that Kraven's Last Hunt storyline, and so I was just like hooked. I was just like, yeah, these are awesome. So it just sort of became, that's what got me into comics, was the fact that I had a little bit of spending money, and it was really easy to stop by this one convenience store like once a week and sort of pick up a bunch of new comics. And I just sort of kept growing like what I'd read. Like I just kept trying new things. Batman and Spider-Man were definitely early favorites. So maybe that was long-winded. Hello to Emmanuel E. I see that you just joined. What else? My dad got me into comics. How about the Beatles' Yellow Submarine comic book? Never read that. Didn't know that that existed. I'm curious. In the Thor episode at the end, did you really get kicked out of the store? I don't remember that episode very well, and I'm trying to remember. What store was I in? I really don't remember. It all blends together. It's not coming to me. Are you going to join my live stream, Comic Tropes? Yeah, as long as it doesn't overlap, I'll definitely check it out. I'd be happy to, J. Andrew World. Let's see. I always liked the Transformers cartoon better than the comic. Yeah, it probably was overall better. Until the third season. I didn't really care for the third season of that cartoon too much. Retrobolt says, if I wanted to start drawing comic characters on model, where should I start when it comes to the basics and anatomy? Just draw from life, man. Alright, so I should get back to this drawing, obviously. Yeah, once you can draw like any sort of just draw real people, once you can do that, it's pretty easy to just sort of look at characters and put their uniforms on over them, etc. So I would just recommend drawing from life, going to some life drawing classes, and get really comfortable just drawing people in general. Draw from people that you see, like, on this, go to the park, or go on a bus, go on a subway, whatever you've got available, and just just draw from life, and eventually you'll be, you get more and more comfortable drawing people, and it becomes very easy to draw any sort of superheroes after that, and you'll end up developing your own sort of style as you keep drawing. I got into comics through the Scott Pilgrim movie. Oh, well, that's cool. That Comic Geek, hello. Have you talked about Golden Age Batman and Superman? Yes, definitely. Probably several times for each. Like, mostly just sort of looking at some of their funnier stuff. But, yeah, definitely there's some stuff that we can learn from them. And I've got an episode about, like, how the beginning of the comic book industry, like, was all formed by, well, not all, but, like, in large part built by Jewish creators. And I talk a lot about the history of Golden Age comics at that point in time, and what it was like in America for comic books when they were getting created. So definitely, the more episodes you watch, the more sort of connections you'll start to see in episodes. And it's also sort of why I don't want to like repeat myself too badly each time by like mentioning every little bit of trivia. It's because certain creators and certain time periods will get brought up again and again. If that makes sense. Um, is there a really good free 2 hour long head anatomy video on YouTube? Never looked for something like that. So if anybody's got advice on where Mitchell can watch a 2 hour long video on head anatomy, speak now or forever hold your peace. And I mean it, forever. Have I read Scott Pilgrim asks Digital Neon X. Digital Neon, right? Yeah, I loved it. Kicked out of the hardware store in the Thor episode. Um, oh, I'm pretty sure I did fake that. I know what you're talking about. That's right, because I was looking at hammers, and then I pretend. I can't remember for sure. I'd have to rewatch it. I'm pretty sure I just faked it. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure because I definitely didn't ask for permission. My rationale when I make my videos is it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is for permission. So yeah, I don't always ask permission. I usually do like for a comic book store, but anything else, it's pretty much just like on the fly, just making an opportunity as I can. I don't like when people generally compare Superman to Christ figures. It's an interesting comparison once, but it's really hard to say. I don't think any of it was intentional, but I do think it's possible that it was like subconsciously on their minds. Is that because there weren't, they were going for something sort of like epic and mythological, and some of that may have like sort of seeped in without them intending to it. The creators. I don't know though. It's really hard to say. Fashion magazines can help. Yeah, they can. The one trick with like sort of looking at posed model pictures is it's different than drawing in real life. That's all I can say. When you're drawing in real life, you're picking up on subtle differences in how muscles move and in how cloth falls and hangs thanks to gravity and in like light sources. In a photo, everything is locked in and it's not actually round. It looks round, but it's not actually round. So it can skew your perception a little bit. Whereas if you're actually looking at an object and you're sort of shifting and everything, yeah, that can like sort of change. Darkseid is. There you go. Oh, cool. Clay has collected now almost the full Micronauts run. I haven't read the full Micronauts run myself, but I've always heard from like a lot of different friends that they really enjoyed that. So that's awesome, man. Sorry, just thinking to myself a little here and there as to, like, where I'm going to make the shadow fall. Shadowfall, that should be the name of a Darkseid minion. Shadowfall, I have a job for you. Eduardo Varela says, use Quick Pose to practice your poses. I don't know Quick Pose. That sounds interesting. Evilist Badger joins and says, have any tips on how one could enter the comic industry as a writer? Yeah, the surefire way is self-publish. If you can self-publish several books, you're going to be able to convince another publisher that you can not just keep coming up with ideas, but that you can get things done. So, after that, it's just submissions. But if you can convince someone that you can, but if you can self-publish and either do the art yourself or pay talent, that's going to convince them that you are worth working with. I'm missing a few questions. Sorry, folks. I uploaded a drawing yesterday. That's awesome, Atomicus. What did you upload it to? Like, we talking like Tumblr or Instagram, Facebook? Give me a second, folks. Milo has apparently had enough of hanging out by my feet, and he wants to get out. That's because it's dinner time for him. Hello, L.S. Grieger. Want to get outside, buddy? All right. Chrissy will feed you. There you go. I'm back. No Justice, No Peace joins us. Hello, hello. Captain America is probably Jack Kirby's best character. Debatable, but maybe. Hello, James Cura. Anyone seen Cartoonist K-Fab channel? It's like a retrospective look on Wizard magazine where Ed Piskor and I might be mispronouncing his name, and Jim Rugg flip through their old issues and give commentary. Oh, that sounds really cool. Thanks for the heads up. I think that a lot of us would definitely enjoy taking a look at that. Everybody adjusting to daylight savings okay? I tell you, that thing is pointless these days. We do not need it anymore. Jack Kirby didn't co-create Spider-Man. He did do one character sketch for like what he could potentially look like, but Jack Kirby didn't work on Spider-Man. Iron Man, Magneto, Silver Surfer, Iceman, and Jean Grey. Yeah, those are all fair. Let's see. Does Darkseid have an obsession with Wonder Woman in the comics or just Super Friends? Just Super Friends. Evilist Badger says, let's see, I was playing Cards Against Humanity with some friends when daylight savings ended. There you go. Brian A. said it made my cats hungrier earlier. Yeah, I agree. That's fun, right? Their internal clocks don't adjust just because we changed our digital clocks. I saw the movie Suspiria, and the remake, I mean. And at first I wasn't sure if I liked it, but I couldn't stop thinking about it, so I've definitely come around to being sure that I did. Um, Pretty interesting movie. They've really made some changes from the original, but it's very creepy, and thematically it's all about sort of the abuse of power, which I think is interesting and probably relevant in any day and age. So it gets a recommend from me as long as you like horror movies. That said, most of it isn't that. No, it's a horror movie. Never mind. There's enough in there that would probably disturb people that are not into horror. Drops Chop says, "Do you know about SCPs?" No, I don't know what SCPs are. You know, I've only recently even been concerned about daylight savings time. I've noticed that the media is pushing it to the forefront of my mind. I don't know. I don't see how it helps, so let's throw it out. Well, the reason it used to help is it would save us money on electricity bills, basically. Um, the thinking was this, like, if you go home from work and turn on, like, all your electrical appliances, it costs a certain amount. But if it gets dark earlier and you're at like work and you're not turning on the lights at your house and stuff like that, theoretically that's saving energy for everybody. That was the original thinking. It's pretty outdated now. It's a pretty outdated concept because we use so many different devices and appliances and so on. So it's sort of a weird idea now, but that's why we do it. And if you already knew about daylight savings time, sorry to act like a know-it-all there. Shastina Simpson. Let's see. I haven't been able to catch one of your streams live, but it's been fun and motivating to watch. Oh, well, thank you. That's really kind of you. SCPs are online horror. Okay, didn't know about that. Lee Ron says, you know what would be an amazing Marvel DC amalgam crossover? A what if where Darkseid gets the gauntlet and an Elseworlds where Thanos gets the anti-life equation. That's fair. Although in JLA versus Avengers, Thanos does get the Infinity Gauntlet, and it's useless. It doesn't work in the DC dimension. Film Knight Rodriguez, hello. Thanks for joining. I chose not to reset my clock, says Jay Underwood. Well, that's yours. X-Men have fought Darkseid. Yep, X-Men Teen Titans. That was really good art by early art too by Walt Simonson. Walt Simonson. What is your favorite Stan Lee comic? Adventures of the Big Boy #2 for Big Boy Restaurants. He did do that, but that's not my favorite. I'm thinking. Maybe it's either Amazing Fantasy #15, Fantastic Four #50, or Parable, the Silver Surfer story that he did with Mobius. That's a tough call. It's one of those three, but beyond that, I'm not sure off the top of my head. That said, Ravage 2099 issue 13 was pretty dope. I wonder if George Lucas was influenced by some of the material in The New Gods. They mentioned the source and the hero's father was Darkseid. Possibly, but I don't think so. I don't think George Lucas read much in terms of American comics. I don't get that instinct, but don't know for sure. Don't know. I hope this looks like Darkseid. I don't know. Like I say, I've never really tried to draw him before. And I sort of wonder if I should have... Well, I guess at this scale, like, I couldn't do much, but I sort of wonder if I should have drawn him with craggier skin. I feel like if I drew too much right now, it basically just wouldn't, it would just sort of like get messy, if that makes sense. All right. Darth Vader seems to be a copy of Doctor Doom. That's possible. That's possible. George Lucas was a huge comics fan, especially Disney comics. Oh, okay. All right. Are there some episodes of Comic Tropes that surprised you with how many views they have? Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I didn't expect Venom to be as popular as it did, and that became my like all-time most watched video within like less than 2 weeks of it having come out. I was like, just I was having fun, but I also didn't think that it was like that deep a dive into Venom, so I was really surprised that got the views that it did. Anyway, yeah, definitely. There's always room for surprises. Alright, I'll take a look at what kind of questions I got. I have a Venom video. The views are okay. Good. Venom was an okay movie, too short. They shouldn't have cut so many scenes. I didn't see it yet. Who draws the best Darkseid? Mine goes to Kirby or Ivan Rice. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Kirby created the character, so I gotta give it to him. I would say that, I always liked John Byrne's take on it. I really did. So, what are your thoughts on Pokemon? Not sure I necessarily have a lot of thoughts on Pokemon. It seems fun. I don't know tons about Pokemon, but I played the original Game Boy game, and that was fun. What else? I played the game Pokemon Snap on the N64, which is like you just were taking photos of Pokemon. And what else? The current game, Pokemon Go, I have, but I haven't played that in a little while. But I like it. That's about all I've done with Pokemon, is those 3 games. So, yeah, I can't really claim to be much of an expert on Pokemon. I don't really watch the cartoons that have been out there or anything. So, it's cute. The character designs are cute. It's a fun idea to just, like, sort of capture them and make them battle and stuff. I mean, you can't analyze it too in depth, or it starts to sound pretty mean. Like, who catches animals and then forces them to fight, right? That's generally illegal to have, like, dog fights or cock fights, etc. So it's a little weird that, like, everyone in the world of Pokemon is just like, good job catching this rare Pokemon. Now make it fight. So you can't analyze it too deep, I don't think. But it's fine. What are your thoughts on the Batman TMNT crossover comics? I'd love to read them. Haven't read them. Definitely love both characters. I could sort of see how they could work together. I feel like the Ninja Turtles especially are very versatile. You can remake them and reboot them in lots of different types of stories. So to do a story with Batman, like, yeah, that makes sense. I wish I could be an expert on everything, especially at least modern. I get asked my opinions quite a bit, obviously, because that's what most of my viewers are reading, is whatever's coming out on the shelves today. But the fact is, I don't have a lot of money, so I'm not reading a lot of stuff from today. I do read comics still today, but I don't read absolutely everything. If my channel ever took off, I would probably just, mostly for the show, just start reading a lot more modern stuff so that I could do, like, mini reviews and share my opinions. But I'm not reading a lot of that. I do read stuff, though, like, especially stuff that gets, like, that either sells really well or has gotten excellent reviews, or occasionally terrible reviews. So, like, stuff that stands out, I'll make time to read. That's why I've talked about stuff like Civil War 2, or, well, that's not that new anymore, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I do read modern comics, I just don't read a ton. They reboot TMNT way too many times in cartoon form. Can't believe it hasn't died out yet. It's because it's versatile, man. People like it and they want to see a new version. But I mean, they reboot like all the superheroes. Like, if you think about it, like, how many times have they done a Batman cartoon? Like, obviously 1 or 2 of the versions are far superior, but they still, like, reboot it all the time. Same with Spider-Man and a bunch of other characters, and you don't feel the need to like see it all probably, but anyway, yeah, Ninja Turtles has got surprising durability, considering it was essentially satire when it came out. There's not too many things I can think of that evolved beyond being just satire into being their own thing. What is your favorite comic tropes episode you've done? Mine was the Jack Kirby episode. The co-creations list was funny. Oh man. Did you ever see the Words and Pictures Museum in the 90s? No, I don't think I actually did it. Hello, Sansanity. L.S. Grieger's asking me what I think about Anima. I don't think I've ever read Anima. So I don't think I know whether I'd like it or not. I don't know what my favorite episode is. When you're making the episodes every week, I would say that you don't have a whole lot of time to think back, because I'm always thinking forward. I'm always thinking of like, okay, what have I done recently? What haven't I done recently? Like, what could slot into there? You know, like, what haven't I covered recently? What am I going to be doing a month from now? What am I going to be doing 2 weeks from now? What am I doing this week? So I'm always sort of like staggering, like, what is coming up. And so I don't have a lot of time to think about what I've done in the past. So I kind of forget them after a little while. For the most part, I'm trying to think if anything stands out. You know, like if somebody like reminds me, like, oh, this is what you talked about here or something, I go, oh yeah, that's right. You know, but yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question, but it isn't coming to me. Have I read the newest Miss Marvel? No. Is it good? Who's writing it right now? I don't know. Miss Marvel is a cool new character. Like she Kamala Khan. Like that's a good new character. She's very likable. She has an interesting power set, and like, yeah, just a different outlook on compared to like everybody else out there. Guy Fella joins. Mycroft Holmes joins. All right, see you, Firefox Panda. Thanks for jumping in. What's my favorite comic book crossover from Homestyle Films? You know, there's so many good ones. There's so many good ones. It would be hard to like say what my favorite is without having some time to sit down and think. But some that stand out as like really strong are X-Men Teen Titans. Um, what else? What else stands out really strong for a good crossover? The original sort of Namor versus the Human Torch. I can't remember which title that was in. Maybe it was called something like Marvel Adventures. It slips my mind, but I've read that and that's good. The crossovers. I really liked Acts of Vengeance as a kid. I thought that stood out as a really cool idea. JLA Avengers was very fun. I don't know. You should do an episode about Marvel's new universe. You know, I might. I'm trying to remember. Was that Jim Shooter? I think it was. Have you read the new Amazing Spider-Man? I read the first issue. Just mostly wanted to see Ryan's art, and I liked it. I thought it was really cool. I'll definitely be catching up on it at some point. Don't know exactly when I'll have the time, but yeah, I like Spider-Man a lot. I like to sort of generally keep up with where he is. Hold on, I'm just getting a text from work. Alright, what else? Let's throw in some blacks over here, some dark shadows. Some dark shadows for the dark side. Oh, by the way, since so many people are here, definitely remember to vote tomorrow. I know not everybody here is from the United States, but it's it's really important for us to vote. And I don't care, we don't have to talk about like which side of the political spectrum you're on or anything like that. We don't have to talk about issues today. That's not what the channel's for. But it's not political to say to vote. That's not political. That's just one of our responsibilities, I think. So just worth mentioning it. I figure like anytime there's like an audience and we're so close, like it's just definitely worth remembering to vote. It's really important. And if anybody like tries to, maybe turn you away or anything, you can always like, if something's in doubt, just ask for a provisional ballot. That's your right under federal law. And they have to set it aside and confirm it and count it later. So just keep that in mind. You can always ask them for a provisional ballot. They can't turn you away for any reason. So don't let anybody tell you differently. That's not the truth. Anyway, so I hope you all, I voted early. That's great, Clay. I did too. Driving 85 miles to vote tomorrow? Sansanity, where do you live? That's fascinating. That's so far. Wow. Am I going to color this? Well, you know what I've been doing is, you know what? Yeah, sure. Why not? I'll give it a shot. I'll try to color it. I'll give it a shot. What's your opinion on Dazzler, the character? Dazzler's actually kind of cool. Like that was a character that was literally created just so that Marvel could potentially make a musical, like on stage, I believe. And so they just wanted to, if they were going to do that, if they were going to partner up and make this musical about an original character, well, they're smart enough to say, well, first we'll put out the comic book so that we have 100% rights to that character. So that's why, like, she got that comic, and that's why she's so of the 70s in her debut, like the roller skates, the disco music, etc. But that's like, so, in some ways that's very mercenary to think of like creating a character just for like a specific reason. But I think she ends up transcending it because she ended up being a lot of fun. But I also give a lot of credit to Chris Claremont for developing her as an X-Men teammate. And I think that she ended up becoming pretty cool. She's got a great set of powers. I'm trying to remember whether it was a what if issue or something else. But there was one issue where Black Bolt yelled, and Dazzler's power is to convert sound into energy. So she was able to shoot this like amazing energy beam. Like they teamed up, and that was really cool. That was a cool use of powers. I love it when characters use their powers together in clever and unique ways. I've always thought Rick Remender was really good at coming up with ideas like that in his comics. Ways that stand out. Yes, I'll definitely do an Aquaman episode next month. I'm not sure exactly what. I work near Boston, but live out in Western Massachusetts. I stay out here a lot. Oh, okay, okay. I used to live in Somerville and work in the heart of Boston. I like Boston a lot. Boston's home. Boston's where I was like born, and I don't know if life will ever take me back there or not, but I do think of Boston as home ultimately. I just sort of go wherever work and life take me. I don't know why, but lately I've been really, really missing Japan, which I don't know. There's something about it that really appeals to me, and I'm not sure what it is. Because obviously, you guys have seen my show. I don't like drool over manga every week or anything like that, but I just really like it there, and I've been having a hard time nailing down exactly why I like it there so much. But I visited several times, and I just really like it. There's other places I really want to visit lately, including New Zealand, Australia, and Greece. They've been all like really high on my personal list to visit soon. But I also can't stop thinking about how much I enjoy Japan. I just wish I was rich. I'd travel all the time. Didn't you say you lived outside the U.S. at one point? No, I've never lived outside the U.S. I've just lived in a lot of different cities in the U.S. Do you know if DC was a direct shortening of Detective Comics? It 100% was, Mycroft. That's exactly what it was. J. Andrew World is in East Hampton, so I've got a couple of Bostonites, or excuse me, massholes up there. Who's my all-time favorite comic artist, asks Walk the Nerd? Possibly Mike Mignola. I really like his work. Hello to Jeff Vessel. Yep. Do an episode on Rob Liefeld, Captain America. Ugh. I'll think about it. Yeah, for the heck of it, I'll do some colors on this guy. Let's see what I got for options in here. Oh, you know what? Let me just erase a bunch of this, or it'll one thing I've noticed is that pencil can smear a little bit with Copics. So if I can erase at least some of this line work, it'll look that much better once I start coloring it. No, I haven't purchased a kneaded eraser yet. Very unprofessional. Ethan Brewer, how long until you finish? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just sort of drawing for fun. But I probably do need to finish within the hour. I might go for quite a while longer, but I do need to finish within about the hour. Just got a bunch of other stuff I've got to accomplish on my day off before it ends. Alright, this is most of what I need to erase, and then I can start making this art into a mamma jamma of a slamma, which is what I call good. Just made that up, but I think it's definitely going to take off. Hey, did you try that new sandwich down at Crockett's? Oh yeah, it's a mamma jamma of a slamma. That's what I was thinking. That's how people talk. Whoa, Juggernaut 44 says, Chris, you inspire me. Keep up the good work. It's incredibly kind of you. I'm happy to hear that. Not sure what I'm doing that's inspiring you, but I'm glad to hear it. There's real value, folks, in art and storytelling, in my opinion. There's real value in it. It tells us truths about ourselves. It lets us relax. There's so many good aspects. It lets us get in touch with emotions that we might not have time to address day to day. You know, like just like dreams are a release for us. Sometimes art fills that same role. Like, you know, sometimes you need to feel sad. Like, or I don't know. I feel like we need to release all of our emotions here and there. Not all at once. I'm just saying that, like, you know, anger can build up, frustration can build up, sadness can build up, sorrow, regret, but if we can express those emotions in a healthy way, like by, you know, feeling it through a story, that's so much better than if we like take it out on somebody else in the world. Anyway, and I think that we can learn things about ourselves by following stories. And I think that comics are just so versatile and can do so much. I love them. That said, sometimes people screw up and make really bad choices with comics, and that's kind of fun to talk about too. Any thoughts on the DN agents? Nope. Sorry. Clay has a Darkseid Superpowers action figure. I always wanted those. At that point in time, when things like the Superpowers figures and the Secret Wars figures were coming out from Kenner, I wasn't poor, but my family didn't have like tons of extra income for things. You know, I didn't have cable or a Nintendo or anything, and I didn't have a ton of toys. I had like, I don't know, 8 Star Wars figures, you know? Which is fine. Hey, that's a hell of a lot more than some people. But I never had any of those Superpowers or Secret Wars figures, and I always really liked them. I always thought they were cool. All right, see ya, Mycroft Holmes. Thanks for jumping in. Look at that. What's a good movie that will make you feel sad? Will make you feel sad. Maybe Old Boy, Boys in the Hood. You know, sometimes you can feel like romantic sadness. I think that like Breakfast at Tiffany's makes me feel that. I don't know. There's all sorts of movies. One of my doctor friends gave me his collection of Marvel and DC toys when he sold his comic collection. Wow, that's pretty cool. What a good friend. You know what? That's not the color I meant to use. Well, maybe it'll become the color I meant to use. Let's see. Wow, thank you, Javon Miles. This is the only live stream I'll actually sit and watch. Dude, that's amazing. That's so kind of you. Oh, it's almost time to get some new Copics, I think. This guy's sort of fading on me. I think he's still got enough energy to do what I need him to do right now. I'm not 100% sure, but Jack Kirby may have been the only real guy to draw Darkseid in his tunic instead of just sort of like, tights. And then when Jim Lee redesigned him, at least I think it was Jim Lee's redesign, he's the first artist that I saw doing it, during New 52, like Darkseid now he's armored up the wazoo, he's just like, got armor all over and a glowing red orb of some sort in his chest. And it's not a bad look. It's just, I kind of like the simplicity of just sort of this guy that seemed to be like stone and how he had the balls to just wear a little tunic. Check out the new Fantastic Four movie. You'll be in tears by the end. Thank you, David Karp. You're 100% right. What's an obscure movie you think more people should know about? That's a fun question. Let me think for a minute. What's an obscure movie? Primer. What else? Shaolin Soccer. I don't know if I'm getting obscure enough yet. Let me think. What else? I'm trying to think of like what I still have in my movie collection that I also consider obscure, but I haven't unboxed most of it ever since I moved. Nothing's coming to me right now. Nothing, like, not much anyway. I'll have to think about that one. An obscure movie. Dog Soldiers. A Girl Who Walks Home Alone at Night. Yeah, that was pretty good. What was the one that just came out like maybe 2 years ago, maybe less, from Iran? It was like a horror movie about like a djinn. Oh, that was good. I'm trying to think, but it's not coming to me right now. Wait, was it that? Anyway. Do you read any sci-fi? Mr. Vic asks. Well, I certainly used to. Do I these days? I guess I haven't really read any sci-fi books in a little while now that you mention it. No, I feel like I definitely used to, but that I haven't in a while. But I'm also sort of like upset. Like I haven't read as much as I would like to. I feel like when I was younger, I always read during my commute to work, but that was because I got to take public transportation. And here I have to drive to work. It was nice being able to read on the subway every single day. There was so much time. And these days, like, I'm kind of giving that reading time mostly to comics or reading nonfiction. So I guess like the answer is like I'm lacking. I'm lacking from like where I'd like to be in reading sci-fi. My friend Jeff reads a lot, and he'll tell me about stuff that's good, and I beat myself up a little, going, I need to make time to read more books. Streets of Fire. Yeah, that's right. Streets of Fire. I sort of remember that. Wishmaster, says Alan Robertson. Wishmaster cracks me up, man. Wishmaster is such a funny, like, it's a bad movie, but it's a very entertaining bad movie. Like at least the first one to first two, I kind of like those movies. I don't think they're that bad. I mean, I think they're qualitatively bad, but they're entertaining, so it's like I forgive it. Hope that makes sense. All right, let's see how well this works. I'm going to just test something. I'm going to give them really bright colors because I'm thinking sort of superpowers level Darkseid. Superpowers Darkseid. I'll probably give them a pretty flashy belt too. Am I a fan of Conan the Barbarian? Yeah, it's not bad. Arnold Schwarzenegger was great as Conan the Barbarian. Totally agree. Old fellow Philip Flores. Hello, Giovanni Romanelli. When you aren't drawing live, do you listen to music while you draw, or do you think it distracts your mind from the drawing? Sometimes I'll listen to music when I draw, but you know what I really like is spoken word. I like listening to podcasts, a lot of comedy podcasts, or the news. Like I maybe that sounds boring to some, but like, yeah, when I draw, I love listening to spoken word. That's what really relaxes me, and helps not distract me. I can definitely absorb that stuff um, while I work. Sometimes I'll listen to music though. The problem is I never take time to create like custom playlists, so that would probably help me honestly, like because I'd get to hear my favorite songs as compared to just sort of like, all right, oh, I need to take a moment to hit skip on this one. Whereas like if I can listen to a comedy podcast or something, that might be like an hour, a good hour and a half to 2 hours that I don't have to worry about anything other than maybe an ad that I get a little bored by. So some of that's like just the nature of it more than the content. John Buscema used to draw the best Conan. Yep. What are your thoughts on the film Batman Forever? Most people hate it, but I enjoyed the campiness. You know, I didn't love it. No, it doesn't work tremendously well for me. It I don't know. If I was gonna explain why, I feel like I'd honestly just be ripping on it left and right. And if you like it, that I don't want to like say that that's wrong. Like just because I didn't like it doesn't mean that it is bad. But no, it didn't work for me. I'll just leave it at that. And that's not to say that I need a grim and gritty Batman, because I actually did love the 60s TV show. That version of Batman works for me. I find that very entertaining and fun. And I like things like Super Friends when I was younger. Super Friends doesn't held up great, but there was like a second version. What was it called? Like the other version of like sort of the Justice League that was on Saturday mornings with Darkseid as the villain. What was that called? It wasn't called Super Friends anymore. But I don't think it was called Justice League either. Somebody out there probably knows. How much are those Copic markers? Hello, Seahawks. A lot. I don't remember exactly how much, but each one's, you know, a fair amount. So several bucks at least. I don't remember beyond that. If I had a more lackadaisical, lazy schedule right now, I'd pull it up on like Dick Blick or something like that and tell you. But that's where you should look, like a place like Dick Blick, and they'll tell you how much it is. They're very fun to color with. They blend very well and they're bright, you know? They really pop compared to like I love well done colored pencil, no question, but you know, like these just really pop because the pigment is so strong. And they blend with each other very well. Legendary Superpowers Show. Thanks, Jeff Vessel. Appreciate that. Eric Whitehurst, what is a good trade paper to read about Darkseid if you never read anything about him before? I mean, boy, I don't know. Like, maybe the first thing I'd say is like Wikipedia, right? If you've never read anything about him before and you want to know who he is, like, there's a lot to digest when it comes to Darkseid and the New Gods. There's a lot of mythology behind them, and it can be a little daunting because, like, Jack Kirby launched something like 4 books at once about the New Gods. There was New Gods, Forever People, Mr. Miracle, something else that I'm not thinking of. But I think it was 4 books that he launched at once and started like exploring the mythology of these characters, including Darkseid. That's a lot to digest, and then on top of that, DC let him go, or he kind of quit when they wouldn't let him wrap up his New Gods story the way he wanted to. They were like, "No, we want to keep these characters. We don't want to sort of like wrap up their story. These are good characters. We don't want to wrap it all up." So then it gets handled by a lot of different people, and hey, here's a trope of mine. Your mileage may vary as to how much you enjoy the work of various writers on them, on these characters. But I think a lot of people have done good jobs with them. I think there's so many things I could just rattle off that are good representations. You ever see the Black Hole newspaper comic Jack Kirby drew? He was such a good fit for that wacky movie. I did not see that. That sounds cool. Draw a cowboy hat in Darkseid. Oh man, it's kind of tempting actually, but I don't think I'm going to do that. But it's not a bad idea. Definitely not a bad idea. Just gonna give old Darkseid here a couple highlights. Hopefully not ruin it. But for some good stories outside of Jack Kirby's work on New Gods, the Great Darkness Saga is like a 5-issue series in Legion of Superheroes that was really good. I did kind of like Grant Morrison's weird take on them in Seven Soldiers. I really like the current Mr. Miracle series by Tom King. Wow, that's just a really amazing Darkseid and Mr. Miracle story. Darkseid is, y'all. Darkseid is. I would say he's the most powerful villain overall that DC has. And that's saying something. He's been handled generally pretty well. John Byrne used him pretty effectively in his Superman series. There was a period of time where Superman had been forced to kill the Phantom Zone criminals. It drove him slightly crazy, and he went off into space. And eventually, he ends up on Apocalypse, and he's just like, look, maybe I can't beat you, Darkseid, but I don't think you can exactly beat me either. And if you don't, like, sort of like end some of your torture of people and everything, I'm just going to stay here on Apocalypse and be a beacon of hope for everyone. And Apocalypse is like, alright, I don't want to deal with that. Bye. Dude, my lower back is killing me. Oh no, Lasagna, let me come over and give you a shoulder rub. Darkseid versus Thanos. No Infinity Gauntlet. Darkseid. I love Thanos. Thanos is a complex character. He's really clever. Darkseid leads a planet. You know, he has an army of parademons, and he has characters like Darkseid and Granny Goodness and Wunderbar and so on and so on. Maybe I will draw the Omega symbol behind him. I'm not done yet. Still working on some things here. Calabac. Anyway, I just think that Darkseid by default is a little more powerful than Thanos, and he's somehow more charismatic as a leader. Don't know how that works, but yeah. Trying to decide on what color to give his belty poo here. I'm gonna give it a gray, I think. Yeah. But if somebody disagrees and they think that Thanos could take Darkseid, I'd be very curious to hear your reasoning. It's just worth keeping in mind that, like, Darkseid can easily go toe-to-toe with Superman, you know? That is not a hard fight for him, really. Well, I mean, maybe it's a hard fight, but it's not a fight that he'll shrink from. Thanos debuted going up against, like, Iron Man and stuff like that, so I just don't feel like he quite has the same power level necessarily. He's really close. He's really, really close. But also Darkseid is the original. And usually what I'll do is, like, when it comes to, like, a battle, if you're going to tell me, like, you know, Flash versus Quicksilver, Green Arrow versus... Well, no, you know what? I would give Hawkeye the edge against Green Arrow because I think he's a better hand-to-hand fighter. But in archery skills, I'd give it to Green Arrow. Whoa! Josh Champney says, you ever make a comic book? You can draw, man. I have. It's all been, you know, self-published stuff, but yes, I have done several comic books. I've talked about this on the show a couple times in the past. Let's see, Trickster, Colonial Comics, Volume 1 and 2. Those are some of the sort of educational comics. And then a ton of self-published stuff that you're not going to find anywhere. I don't know. I think that this is pretty close to done, I suppose, for how I draw. It's okay. It ain't perfect. Whoa, Blackie Shepherd. I just met Blackie at the Jet City Comic Con here in Tacoma, and Blackie has drawn stuff for Dynamite and like Pumpkinhead, and he's drawn a Voltron comic. So, yeah, Kirby Crackle. Ooh, what time is it? All right, I got some time. I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. Let's see if I can do some Kirby Crackle. Thank you for the donation, Blackie. That's really, really kind of you. You know what? This isn't going to work the way I'm doing it now. I'm going to have to switch to some black ink. Perhaps adding a more rocky texture would complete the look. You know, I sort of agree. I just it's so small. I don't know if I've got a fine enough brush to do that. So does everybody know what Kirby Crackle is? I don't want to talk about it if everybody out there already knows what Kirby Crackle is, but if you don't know what it is, I'd be happy to talk about it. Whoa! Sanity dropping a generous donation just for the Kirby Crackle, apparently. Wow. Apparently I just need to do a live stream and take some time to do some Kirby Crackle more often, right? Clay says, some sort of energy, also cool art thing. Yeah, you know, Mr. Vic says it's what the universe is made of. Who wins in a debate, Matt Murdock or Wanda Maximoff? Matt Murdock. Damn compelling guy. Kirby Crackle is specifically how Jack Kirby would draw just boundless cosmic energy, you know? And it was it was such a trope of his that it became known as Kirby Crackle, like crackling energy. And that's amazing when you think about it. Like, who else out there has a texture pattern named after them? You know? Like, Will Eisner's amazing, but I can't think of something where it's like, oh, that's an Eisner shadow. There's nothing like that. Jack Kirby, man. We can learn so much from him still. Like, it's astonishing. And it's just like these little circles, and it's really more about trying to create the space in between them. So you really have to like be brave and like start like laying the circles on top of each other without like worrying about it. It's not easy actually to get used to it. I don't think I'm great at Kirby Crackle, but it is very fun to attempt. Let's see. The coolest thing I've seen from Eisner was the POV of a killer using the killer's eyes as panels. Wow, that does sound cool, Sanity. I'm not sure I'm not sure I've seen that. Like, what do you happen to remember what issue or comic that was in? That I would love to look that up. I I mean, I'm I'm still like blown away that like Jack Kirby could create like an idea like this that other comics artists are just like, yes, that's what energy should look like. It makes me wonder now that I think of it. I did an episode on lettering, but I didn't necessarily get into like the history of like who invented the thought balloon or the word balloon. So like that's I could still do like another episode at some point on things like that. Like who created these things the first time. It's not easy to say with absolute conviction. Let me drop in a little something here. I'm just thinking for a moment. Bear with me. I'm trying to think of where to place something. Um, McFarlane lifted his webbing from Michael Golden. He says as much in several interviews. Yeah, as soon as you discover Michael Golden artwork, like it's so obvious that Todd McFarlane was trying to ape his work. Like, and that's okay. It's just that it's amazing that Todd McFarlane was the one that became famous when he was definitely trying to illustrate like somebody else. Apparently the Belgians invented speech bubbles. Yep. Almost everything was invented in the comic strips. Too true. Still worth talking about at some point. I'm sure a lot of you out there have already heard this story before, but when I first moved out here to the Seattle area, I didn't really know anybody except for Phoenix Jones, the real life superhero. And so there was a period of time where I was going out with him, and my superhero name was Omega. Pretty embarrassing, I suppose, in retrospect. And something I think I'd like to make a comic book out of someday, the sort of adventures that I went on. But yeah, that was my symbol, was the a red Omega symbol. If you're curious what I looked like, there was an ESPN documentary on Phoenix, and they interviewed me in costume and followed us along on some patrols, so you can see me in my silly Omega costume. Let's see. Bernie Wrightson's stuff was brilliant. Oh man, totally. Eisner invented the splash page. Did he? I guess I didn't know that. I wonder if Jack Kirby invented the double splash page, because man, he did those a lot. Omega. Yep. Hello, Rube Star. Alan Robertson says, "Holy shit, I saw that. I thought I wanted to be a supervillain and out you." Okay, I never really kept it much of a secret, so anyway. Don't know why somebody would want to be a supervillain though. I'm going to find that video. Yeah, it's not hard to find. I would definitely buy a comic book about Omega's story. Now, someday, maybe. The Sovereign led the Guild of Calamitous Intent. Oh, it went away. Ellis Grieger had something, but he retracted it. Now I know who I can get to illustrate my comic fiber, get off the ground, the best in the business. Okay. The splash page was invented because of how the Spirit was published as part of a parade magazine. It was always a way to put in a cover. Yeah, those were awesome. Actually, those were badass. Like those, splash pages where it would just say like the Spirit's name and like sort of set the stage of what the story was. That was always really really cool. Doing some Kirby crackle. Hopefully I'm not messing it up too badly. I don't think I ate dinner yet. I'm hungry. Alright. Let me do one more thing that just occurred to me. Yeah. I'm gonna use a technical pen to sort of give Darkseid some more craggy skin. Let's see. Just realized I'm watching you draw and ignoring my own stuff. Alright, see ya, Blackie. Great looking Darkseid. Well, thank you. That's really kind of you. Wait, did I miss a super chat, folks? Oh, I'm so bad at this. I'm going to scroll up for a minute here. What is this one? I don't think... Sanity. Okay, no, I did catch it. It just was almost a different color. Alright. You didn't even hide your voice. Now, what am I going to do? I'm Omega, and I'm here. I mean, nobody would think that, like, I was doing it unless I told them. So, it's not like I really had to work hard to hide who I was. Wore a mask. That's plenty. I don't wear hockey pads. Did I ever read Eisner Miller? I did. And I also saw them speak at a must have been the Small Press Expo. It's interesting. I appreciate the respect that Frank Miller has for Eisner, but don't think he necessarily did a great job representing the Spirit when he directed the Spirit movie. Oof, that did not feel very Eisner-esque to me. The Spirit movie was so bad I forgot I watched it. Hello, Tigran Pet. No one beats the Sovereign from Venture Brothers. Yeah, that's probably true. I know Darkseid wasn't always Rock Monster. How did he become one? Just an evolution of different people drawing it, I think. I don't think that there's a story that, like, explains that he changed his appearance or anything. It was just a progression. I don't know. Do you think that that like made it look better, folks? Like adding more sort of like dark black sort of craggy detail, or do you think I sort of ruined it? I don't know. I think it looks like Darkseid. I don't know. Anyway, I think that that'll do it for today. Just gonna add a little bit of detail here and there on his body. Sort of give him more of a rough texture here and there. Just ideas that any human could think of. Okay. So some people like it, some don't. Look at you overachieving. I don't know whether or not to be envious or to admire your fortitude. Sam Jones played the Spirit in a TV movie? He did? I met Sam Jones once during like when I was like I just said, like being a real life superhero. I was invited into some radio station here. I can't remember which one, and Sam Jones was the guest, and it was nice. I got a picture with him now that I think of it. I wonder where that is. Like it's not me. It's Omega. But I should find that and like share it with everyone. Dick Tracy obviously took inspiration from the Spirit movie. Yeah, that's fair. This might be better than the one in Odyssey. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Great drawing, fun stuff. If I were a superhero, I would not like to go up against Darkseid. Definitely improved it. Oh, okay. I just came back from watching your Omega interview. Well, hope that was entertaining, Graphite Grappler. Hmm. So, I think we're about ready to wrap up the live stream for today. You know, is it great? No, probably not, but it was fun, and some of it came out all right. Um, yeah, I had a good time doing this. Let's see. I'm trying to look for like sort of a very very light. I'm looking for my lightest color for like some of the energy here. Don't know if this will work or not. Gonna give it a shot though. This is all about trying to improve. So. Let's see. Nice picture of Thanos. Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks. Pacino's best. Could Omega survive Darkseid's eye beams? Sure. The one thing I have going for me as Omega is that I was actually real. So, could I survive a fictional attack? Very, very easily. Almost done with what I'm going to do, I think. Just trying to show him exuding energy. And if I were to keep working on this piece, I would just extend the Kirby crackle. And yeah. Thank you, J. Andrew World. That's very nice of you. Big Boy Caprice. Big Boy Caprice. I just can't seem to quit. Keep thinking I will. Anyway, I guess that'll do it for this live stream. I had a good time. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Thank you for the super chats, everybody. That was really kind, and didn't necessarily expect that, so that was a nice little surprise. Yeah, overall, this was a fun Darkseid to do. Feels a little unbalanced somewhere. I think it's in his eyes. I think it's because I gave him like sort of one eye sort of arching up and one eye like going down like this. It feels a little weird at a distance, so whatever. Hey, K. Roberts, I am just about to wrap it up. J. Andrew World is plugging his live stream, so if you go to J. Andrew World's link there, his name, he will have a live stream himself where he's going to talk about anatomy. Let's see, J. Andrew World, am I able to type your? I'm gonna open up a window here and try to find your YouTube, and we'll see if I can do that. Because I think I can post links and not everybody else can. Yeah, there we go. There's your channel. So, let's see if I can do this. There you go. Alright, folks, so if you head to that link that I just did, J. Andrew World is going to do a live stream, so I'll kick it over there. If you guys want to keep talking or something, you could go there. Could I draw a Black Manta? Yeah, probably at some point. Not right now, but hello to Jimmy Tigani. I noticed you never turn drawing upside down or sideways. Oh, you know what? I definitely will when I draw myself, but like when I'm doing a live stream, I tend to try to keep it a little more steady, actually. So some of that is just me trying to make it a little easier to follow for the show. I definitely rotate my drawing a lot when I draw and I don't have a camera on it. Anyway, all right. That'll do it. I got to take off. I got a bunch of stuff to do. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. If you feel like it, there's right down here. I put a link in for one of the guys in this chat room, J. Andrew World. He has a YouTube channel and he's going to keep drawing there. So maybe you can learn something there. All right. It'll take him a minute to get stuff ready, of course. But I'm going to take off now, folks. You guys are great, and I'll hopefully see you pretty soon. Bye. Oh, before I say bye, keep reading comics. Bye.